What's your name and where are you from?
My name is Krystal Steel, and I am from Nashville, Tennessee.
Why did you feel the need to move to Nashville?
We actually, I moved here when I was 13. I actually just came with my family, and we didn't move originally to do country music. All my life, my parents had actually been doing church music, and my dad was a youth pastor, and we moved here because my mother got a job as a worship minister at a church in Columbia. So we kind of just packed up and moved. We lived in an old coal town in Wellston, Ohio, and it's got nothing going on. You have to drive 15 minutes to get to Walmart. It's nothing there, and that was something that was a difficult decision for my parents, and my whole family is from there. So for us to pack up and move, I remember my dad's sisters just telling him, "You're nuts. Why are you packing up and moving your kids away from their family? And they're only 13 and 12. And you know what? But I think that everything happens for a reason. And, my parents were really looking to move us to get us out into something that would be more opportunity for our lives, or we wouldn't be stuck. And I think it was a good decision. It's kind of paying off.
What did you leave when what did you sacrifice or leave when you left your home to come here?
Well, I can actually tell you what we've sacrificed to do music so far. Even I don't know if you want to take it that far in our career yet. Okay. Doing music does require sacrifices. Sometimes they're not sacrifices that everyone sees. Moving here when I was 13, I really didn't move here for music at the time, but we did sacrifice seeing my family for a long time. And then as our career has progressed as musicians, we have given up things, sold cars, dirt bikes, trucks, you name it, pianos, music equipment, because if this is something you really want to do, if this is a dream you've had your entire life, it's not something I look at as, I can look back on a mold and be like, I kind of tried. I want to look back and say, you know what, if I didn't make it, if I didn't succeed, I gave it everything I had, and I chased it to the full extent until that's all I had inside of me. And if I can do that, and I don't succeed, I can look back and say, you know what, I truly tried. But if I do succeed, I can say, you know what, that was worth it. Those sacrifices were worth it. So I think that's what everyone kind of looks for.
Well, have you found in Nashville what you expected to find here?
I did not find in Nashville what I expected to find. People come here, and I can say this as myself, you want to go down on Broadway, and you just expect for music industry people to be lining up to pick someone off the stage and be like, okay, we're going to sign you. That's not how it is. You come to Nashville, if you want to play in bars, you're probably not getting much of a paycheck besides tips. And it's kind of hard to live that way, so you have to have another job in the meantime if that's something that you want to do, is play downtown Nashville. That's something that we tried for a while. My mother and I tried, and we just decided that that's not the route we wanted to take. So we have chosen, instead of to perform on downtown Nashville, we travel out of the state to play almost. It's kind of weird to think you move to Nashville to do country music, but then you travel everywhere else to play so you can get paid. So.
What are the pros and cons you found since you've been to Nashville? Any downsides to Nashville?
Pros and cons. Let's see. Really, of the pros and cons of being in Nashville, I think the only downside is that there are so many people that are here to do music. You can find anyone from anywhere you go, and they play an instrument, they sing, they're a writer. Even to people who are homeless on the street, they may have moved here 20 years ago and their dream never came true, and that's where they wound up. It's a tough city to live in if you're wanting to be a musician. But the pros of it is you can make a lot of friends in the music industry, and you can either choose to view them as your competition in a way of, I don't like them, they're my competition, or you can view them as you know what, they're talented, and use that to inspire something in you and say, I need to go up to a better level. I can do better than that. You know, not to say you want to necessarily emulate them, but I think you can look at it as, you know, they're amazing. I need to be just as good or even better than that if I want to get, you know, noticed by someone in the industry. So.
Well, besides Nashville being a mecca of music, is there anything else that you found in this town that you really think is cool?
Well, I can say that I think something's really cool, but it's kind of about Nashville, but I love the outdoors. So for me, I love Tennessee just in general. Where I grew up in Ohio is a very small town, so to move here and still be able to have things to do outdoors and to find other people who love doing the same thing is really amazing, because you can go anywhere in downtown Nashville, and no matter how people are dressed, they can be dressed to the nines. Generally, they still love to fish and to go out and have fun and have bonfires. So I think that's something that's really cool, to move to a place that you've never been before and still find people that you can relate to and have fun with. And something also that's cool about Nashville, it's you know, it's a really friendly place, and you can walk in any bar and be like, make a friend, even if it's for a night. You can hang out with them, and you know, that's really cool. You can't find that everywhere.
What would you tell other people who are thinking about moving to Nashville?
I would tell people, if they're looking to move to Nashville for music, you know, you better have a tough skin. You know, a lot of people will tell you no in the music industry, and if this is something that is truly your dream and something that you want to see happen in your life, it's going to take a lot of work, it's going to take a lot of sacrifice, and a lot of people will tell you no. Hundreds of people may tell you no, but sometimes all you need is one person to tell you yes. So I would say, you know, if you're moving and you're serious about it, come on, we'd love to have you, and make as many connections as you can in the music industry, and use other people's talents to inspire you to be greater instead of looking at them as your competition.
Are you happy you moved here?
I am very happy that I moved to Nashville.
Do you have any regrets about moving here?
I can honestly say that I don't have any regrets of moving here. You know, like I said, there has been a lot of sacrifice in working towards my dream, but I don't regret any of it.
How successful have you been since coming to Nashville?
Well, I would say that I haven't been incredibly successful in a sense that we aren't signed and playing the Grammys, but I would say that much more successful than I ever imagined. You know, my mother and I became a country music duo almost 3 years ago, and within us playing 5 shows around town, we had someone from The Voice find a video of ours on YouTube, and they contacted us and asked us to come and do a private audition. We went and auditioned and made it through to the next round, and about had a heart attack because we were nervous, and we're like, oh Lord, they are never gonna pick us, because we were just, oh gosh, it was terrible. And then we make it go through, we fly out to California, and here we are auditioning in front of the producers on the television show, and somehow we made it through there. And then we actually get to audition on this show, make it on Blake Shelton's team. You know, from there we have, we've sung on Blake's Christmas CD, we've been on the Today Show and released the single to our very first album on the Today Show with Kathy Lee and Hoda. And we have a huge fan base and fan support. And we're honestly blessed to be where we are.
Sounds pretty successful to me. What do you think about the songwriting community in Nashville? You've been running around with these guys for a while. What do you think of the songwriting community?
I think the songwriting community is really great in Nashville. You know, one thing about songwriters, you find very, very talented songwriters, but they seem to be normal people. I think before moving here, I thought that songwriters and musicians, they were all like hoity-toity, and they were on this level that, you know, didn't think you could touch them and all this. But, you know, people who are truly talented, and even though I may not be as talented as them and get to write with them, they don't say, oh, no, that's not a good idea. You know, some really great songwriters that we've got to write with, they will be like, you know what, that's a good idea. And they'll say, one really great thing that I actually heard one say is, you know, anything that comes to your mind, you just say it. Because even if it's not a great idea, maybe if it's just an all right idea, we could probably make it an excellent idea, or I can get an idea from your idea, you know. So no idea is a bad idea. And I think that's a really great idea to have, because when you walk into a songwriter's, you're going in here, you're like, oh Lord, what if I say something stupid? They're going to think I'm an idiot, you know. And so that's something that is really cool, to go in and not only get to write with people, but also to learn from people who are better than you. It's really cool.
That's neat. If you had to do it over, would you still come to Nashville?
Yes, if I had to do it over again, I would definitely come to Nashville.
Okay, is there anything that we didn't cover that you would like to say to people who wanted to be songwriters and are thinking about moving to Nashville? What good advice would you give them for that?
I don't know. I think, you know, it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy. Don't expect to walk in and your first few shows you get recognized and picked up by a label. If that happens, you're incredibly lucky. You know, and that has happened to people before. But everyone else, it's, you know, it's a tough road. Sometimes you have to be a songwriter and you have to work on your songwriting skills, and you have to keep bettering yourself as an artist and find who you are. With being in Nashville, there's so many country artists, and one thing I would suggest is stick with who you are. Don't try to be anyone else, because you can always try to be someone else. But, you know, there's only one you, and that's the easiest person to be. And each person is unique. And if you be truly who you are, I think that you find your own niche and you kind of see where you fit. You know, with my mother and I, we're a mother-daughter duo. Yeah, there's been a mother-daughter duo before, the Judds, but we're not like the Judds. We're ourselves. We're kind of geeky. We're crazy acting. You know, we like to fish and hunt and shoot guns and this and that, you know, and have a lot of fun. But that works for us. And clearly, we've been on The Voice. We've been on the Today Show. We have a lot of fans. So find what you're good at and go for it.
When you're writing songs, where do you find your inspiration?
Writing songs, you know, for me, I never find inspiration one certain way. It's always different. It could be, you know, we've written songs. My brother would be upstairs playing his guitar, and we're like, oh my gosh, that is amazing, you know, part on a guitar. We just run upstairs and start writing the song. And we have no previous words, no previous ideas, just by the sound of his guitar and the effects that he has on it. It just gives us a great idea of, this sounds great, let's write a song to this. Other times we've written songs of just to inspire people. You know, we have gone through a lot, not only in our personal lives, but trying to make our dreams come true in music. And, you know, I think one thing about music that is really great is it can touch people. It can touch people in a way of making them happy, making them excited, making them want to have a good time and party, but it can also touch them in a place of hurt and of past hurt, and to help them move through it or inspire them. Maybe they're going through a hard time, and it can help pull them out of that, even if it's just for 3 minutes and 30 seconds of a song. You know, maybe that's all they need for their day to bring it, you know, to a happier place. And that's an incredible thing about music. So for us, it's really different. Every song is really unique, and there's been songs where I just pick up a guitar and start playing, and I'm terrible at guitar, so I just strum out what I can, and then I just it just comes out, and it's just different every time. But it's cool that way, because then it's no specific, it's like, okay, we have to sit down, and it doesn't make it this laborious thing. It's like, okay, I've really got to think of a good idea. I have to write a number one song right now, you know? So I think it's cool. It's spontaneous and comes from the heart. But I think it's good. It turns out good that way because it comes across genuine and really cool, I think.
Is there anything that you would suggest to songwriters that are going to move here that they not do? Things that you've seen and you go, oh my goodness, I shouldn't have done that, or you see someone else do it. Are there things that songwriters should not do when they move to Nashville?
Let's see. Really the only thing I could suggest that songwriters not do would be to close off and huddle up in your own little world and stay to yourself. I know that people do that and they think that, oh, well, if I write this song and make it #1 on my own, then I'll get more royalties from it if I get it to this and this. But a lot of the music industry is about connections, and to have those connections, you need to meet people. And also as a songwriter, to grow as a writer, you need to be around other writers, and maybe you can learn from someone else and say, okay, man, that's not the direction I want to go. I don't want to do this and this. And you can look to really great artists, songwriters, and be like, you know what? They are amazing, and they could write something, it almost seems like in their sleep. I know I've met people like that. It's like they don't even have any previous thought of a song before they come in, and then they just write this song in 15 minutes, and it's amazing, and you're just shaking your head like, why am I here? I know I've been in songwriting sessions like that before. You go in with someone truly amazing, and they've written almost the whole song. You've said 2 words, and somehow you've helped a little bit, but they've got it down. And, I think to be a great songwriter, it's really, you need to get out there, make friends, learn from other people. I don't think anyone has been successful just huddled up on their own and trying to write what's on, I want to write what's on radio now, but radio now isn't going to be radio now forever. You need to be genuine of what's coming up. So it's a different thing, but I would encourage people to go out and songwrite with some bad people and some good people, It's a learning experience either way.
Tell me a little bit about the influence that Blake Shelton had on you when you spent your time up doing The Voice. What did he bring to you that you can take from your connection with him?
I think the most, let me rephrase that. I think really what I've learned from Blake, something that he told us is, he noticed that we have soulful voices, my mother and I. And, of course, we do country music. And he could tell that we were trying to sing like country artists, as everyone in Nashville tries to do. I mean, you want to be a country artist, you want to sound like a country artist. One thing he told us is, be yourself. You want to sound country, yeah, but there's only one you. And if your voice is more soulful country, go for it. How many other people have soulful country voices? There aren't very many. So I think him, telling us it's okay to be yourself, even if yourself isn't bluegrass, country that everyone else maybe is trying to be top 40 country or AC/DC country. It's okay to be yourself. And because one thing that I've learned personally is you're not the only person in the world who likes the things that you like. There's going to be hundreds of thousands of people who like the exact same things that you do. So be yourself, and those people will find you and find out who you are. And they'll be fans of you, and maybe you can inspire them to be themselves as well.
Yeah. What jobs have you had since you've been in Nashville?
I have had a lot of jobs since I've been in Nashville. I have worked at a bank for 5 years, and I worked at McDonald's 2 different times. I worked at Kroger, I've worked at a cafe, and I currently work at a pet salon. I did work as a bather for a while, and now I've moved to the front desk again. But actually, before The Voice, here's an example of a sacrifice that I had to make. Before I went on The Voice, I worked at a bank for 5 years. I had my own car, my own insurance, paid for all my own things. Because of The Voice, we had to travel out to California on and off for 8 or 9 months. So I had to quit my job at the bank. By doing that, I also had to sell my car because I could not afford my car any longer. And so now I'm still kind of on the same path. And after that, when I came back from The Voice, I couldn't find a job anywhere. Everyone knows, you know, finding a job is hard anyways. And so how do you explain not having a job for 8 or 9 months when you've had a job since you were 16? They're like, what is wrong with the gap in your job history? It's like, well, I was on The Voice. Well, why did you have to quit your job? I said, you know, I had to fly back and forth to California for 8 or 9 months, you know? And some people would understand that, and they're like, well, if you're doing music, you're going to travel a lot more, right? I said, well, hopefully down the road, yes, that's the plan. Okay, well, thanks for coming in. And they look at it as, well, since you have ambitions of having a music career, you're not really serious about working for them. So that's a tough thing. So after The Voice, when we came back to Nashville, I worked at McDonald's for 3 months because I couldn't find a job. And a lot of people would come in, and, you know, that's a tough thing. I was grateful to have a job, but it's one of those things where people have seen you on national television. You're supposed to be doing all these big things. You've met Blake Shelton. You've been on his team. And then people come in and are like, oh, weren't you on The Voice? Yes, I was. Thanks for noticing. Well, why are you here? You know? So it's kind of it's a tough thing. You have to have thick skin, but don't let it make you be ashamed. I mean, if you're chasing a dream, it's just one of the sacrifices you may have to make. But luckily, I didn't have to work there very long. And now I actually have a great job. I love dogs and I love animals. So I am in the perfect job right now while I'm chasing my dreams. And it's, you know, it's not stressful, and it's really great.
Imagine that there's a 13 or 14-year-old girl watching this video.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to someone young who wants to become a songwriter?
I would say for anyone that is young looking to become a songwriter, you know, figure out if this is what you want to do for the rest of your life. You know, if it's something you kind of just want to do on the side, let it be on the side and have fun with it. But if it's something that you want to chase full-time as a dream, you're going to have to go after it with everything you have. There are so many people in Nashville, you know, out there trying to make their dreams come true. And, you know, the people that are successful are those who are working their butts off. And, you know, it doesn't take 5 or 6 hours a day. Sometimes it takes 12 to 16 hours a day to do it. If this is something that you really want to do, just know ahead of time that it does take a lot of work. And it's a lot of sacrifice at some points. But you know what? It's one of the funnest things when you get to hear your song on a record. And it's one of the funnest things when you get to go out and perform on national television. So don't think that you're making all these sacrifices to never have a payoff. Work hard, learn from other people, and when people criticize your songs, when people criticize how you sing, take it with a grain of salt. Maybe their opinion isn't the end all, you know.